Have you ever wondered why some people stay stuck in the same painful situation for years, while others rise and transform their lives? Let me tell you a story that will make you stop and think deeply. In the heart of a busy city, there was a beggar. Every single day, from sunrise until late at night, he sat in the same corner, holding out a rusty tin can, asking for coins. People passed by, some dropped a little money, others ignored him completely. To most people, he was invisible, just another poor man sitting on the street. His clothes were torn, his face unshaven, and his eyes carried the weight of hopelessness. But here's the shocking part. Beneath the very spot where he sat, buried under the ground, was a box of treasure. Yes, real treasure, filled with gold and wealth that could change his life forever. Yet for years, the beggar remained poor, hungry, and desperate, without ever realizing what he was sitting on. Isn't that unbelievable? But in many ways, it is the story of countless people in the real world. We sit on hidden talents, unique ideas, and powerful opportunities, but we don't see them because our minds are trapped in hopelessness. One evening, something unusual happened. As the beggar stretched out his hand, waiting for the usual coins, a stranger stopped in front of him. This man looked different, not because of his fine clothes or confident walk, but because of the way he looked directly into the beggar's eyes. Instead of giving money, he asked a simple but life-changing question. "Tell me, why do you never try to change your life?" The beggar, irritated and confused, replied, "What do you mean? This is my life. I'm poor, helpless, and nothing will ever change." The stranger didn't argue. He simply smiled and spoke words that would echo in the beggar's mind forever. "You are not poor because you have nothing. You are poor because you believe you have nothing." And in that very moment, something shifted. Those words hit the beggar harder than hunger, harder than cold nights, harder than rejection. For the first time in years, he began to wonder if he was the one keeping himself trapped. That night, the beggar could not close his eyes. The stranger's words echoed in his head again and again. "You are not poor because you have nothing. You are poor because you believe you have nothing." He tossed and turned, staring at the dark sky above him. For the first time in years, his mind was restless, not because of hunger, not because of cold, but because of a thought. What if the stranger was right? What if poverty wasn't his destiny, but his decision? The next morning, something inside him felt different. Instead of stretching out his hand like always, he hesitated. He looked around at the busy street, at the tall buildings, at the men and women rushing to work. For years, he had seen the same scene but never really looked at it. Today, for the first time, he saw possibility. With shaky legs, he stood up. It was awkward. His body wasn't used to standing for long, but he forced himself. People who normally ignored him noticed something unusual. "Is that the beggar? Why is he standing?" They whispered. Some laughed, others mocked, but the beggar didn't care. He walked to a shopkeeper nearby and asked, "Do you have any work for me? I can clean, I can carry, I can do anything." The shopkeeper looked him up and down, smirked, and said, "You work, you'll always be a beggar." And he turned away. The words stung, but instead of breaking him, they pushed him harder. For the first time in years, he refused to sit back down. Day after day, he asked people for work. Many rejected him, some insulted him, but he kept going. And then, finally, a kind shopkeeper said, "If you want, you can sweep the front of my shop every morning. I'll give you some coins." It wasn't much, but it was honest. The beggar's heart swelled with pride. For the first time, he earned money not from pity, but from effort. That night, as he held the coins in his hand, they felt heavier than gold, because they carried dignity. Weeks passed, and he saved every little bit he could. With his first savings, he bought a clean shirt. The change was small, but when he wore it, people treated him differently. Opportunities slowly started to appear. And at that moment, he realized something powerful. Life doesn't change when circumstances change. Life changes the moment your mindset changes. Years passed, and the man once known as a beggar was no longer the same. He had worked hard, built small connections, and slowly climbed out of poverty. From sweeping streets to running errands, from learning small trades to managing a little shop of his own, he transformed his life step by step. One bright morning, dressed in clean clothes and with confidence in his walk, he passed by the old street corner where he had once begged. Out of curiosity, he sat down on the same spot. For a moment, memories rushed back, the endless days of hunger, the humiliation, the hopelessness. He smiled, realizing how far he had come. As he rested there, he felt something odd beneath the ground. Curious, he dug a little, and to his surprise, his hands touched wood. With effort, he uncovered a small, dusty box. When he opened it, his eyes widened. Inside were coins of gold, shining brightly, along with jewels and treasures he had never seen before. For a moment, he froze. This treasure had been under him all those years, while he begged for scraps. He could have been rich long ago. But instead of regret, he laughed, a deep, genuine laugh that echoed on the street. Why? Because he finally understood the truth. The real treasure was not the gold in the box. The real treasure was the belief that he could change. Because even if he had found this gold back then, with the same poor mindset, he would have wasted it all and ended up on the street again. He whispered to himself, "Wealth outside means nothing if you are poor inside. True change begins in the mind." And that, my friends, is the lesson we all need to learn. Many of us are just like that beggar. We sit on opportunities, talents, and gifts, but we don't see them because our mindset blinds us. We keep telling ourselves, "I can't. I'm not good enough. Nothing will ever change." And with that belief, we stay stuck. But the moment you shift your thinking, the world begins to open. When you believe in yourself, you start acting differently. And when you act differently, life rewards you differently. So remember, change your mindset, and your life will change. That's the treasure you've been sitting on all along.